Race of the week comes to you from the Spa, Saratoga, and it's the Jim Dandy Grade 2 $600,000 prep. And usually horses from this move on to the Travers Stakes. Already an outstanding Travers field lining up. And after the Curlin Stakes on Friday, we're going to pretty much have a good feel for what that Travers Stakes is going to look like. Owendale already training up for the Travers Stakes. There's a possibility of Maximum Security also running in the Travers Stakes, but I do think that is highly unlikely. Meanwhile, we've got a couple of entrants here that ran in the Preakness. War of Will, who disappointed in the Belmont Stakes after winning the Preakness, and then Laughing Fox did not run well in the Preakness, but his last big victory was at Oaklawn Park. So a good field. Let's start at the rail. Laughing Fox, trained by Steve Asmussen. His best races were at Oaklawn Park. Disappointed in his most recent outing, and I do like the fact that he gets the rail here. I think his best advantage is going to be to try to save ground, kind of lay back, and then see if he can maybe pick up some of the pieces. But I don't really see a fast pace in this race, so Laughing Fox most likely going to be up against it from a pace standpoint. Meanwhile, Tax ran in the Belmont Stakes. That was kind of a jumbled field at the end. Seems to be training a lot better since the Belmont Stakes. And remember, in the Belmont Stakes, he was kind of iffy on the Monday before the race, whether he was going to run in that or not. And he seems to be training well after that. Had a nice workout last weekend. And Tax really seems to be one of those stamina guys that really can run 9 furlongs and possibly well better in the Travers Stakes. So I think Tax is going to run good in this spot. The Mighty Mihos. Centennial Farm sends out Mihos, who ran last against Code of Honor in the Dwyer Stakes. Now, he got caught wide, and Code of Honor was not going to be beat that day, but it was kind of interesting. Coming into the turn, they all kind of bunched up, and Mihos had the widest trip of all, and then just didn't kick in late. I think he's going to be a little bit better meant in this spot. I think he'll be more forwardly placed, and I do think Mihos has a chance of outrunning his odds. And again, Code of Honor ran a huge race in the Dwyer, and I just think overall that might have been a better than looked effort from Mihos in that spot. I think he's got a big opportunity in this spot. Global Campaign, big victory in the Peter Pan. He defeated Sir Winston in that race. Was going to run a few weeks back in the Ohio Derby. Had a little bit of a foot abscess, but I think Global Campaign is definitely the speed of the speed, and he'll be leading them from the start. And fourth post position should get him a good spot to break from the gate, decide whether he wants to go inside. Tax is probably the only one that can challenge Global Campaign on the front end early. Now, Global Campaign, this horse ran a really nice maiden breaker back at Gulfstream, then disappointed in his second lifetime start. I think he's going to be well meant in this spot, and I think he's definitely a horse that you have to consider on the win end. Meanwhile, Tacitus, most likely the favorite in this race. Him and War of Will, both with big reputations coming in here. Now, Tacitus, this horse is disappointed after winning the Wood Memorial, was bet down in the Kentucky Derby, got an okay trip. The track was sloppy that day, though, and I really don't think that he really ran well in the Derby. He kind of just persevered and ran on at the end. Tacitus going to be bet down here. I'm not sure he has enough pace up front to really to flatter his closing style, and he may be one that may be one to watch in the Travers Stakes. And I think he may be a little bit overbet here, as you saw in the Belmont Stakes. If he waits too long, he's more of a grinder. He just doesn't have that quick turn of foot where he can accelerate for an eighth of a mile. And he's going to have to show some, even in the Wood Stakes, it had a fast pace. He didn't really make up any ground until really going into the turn when he made his move. And it took him a while to collar Tax late in the Wood Memorial. So Tacitus may be a little bit overbet. You want to watch if he's going to be able to get closer to the pace in this spot. Meanwhile, War of Will from the outside, no excuse in the Belmont Stakes, but he had lost some weight. He ran 2 tough races in a row in the Kentucky Derby after being troubled on the turn. Then he came back and ran all out in the Preakness Stakes, although he did get a rail trip. So he got a nice trip in the Preakness Stakes, but that may have tired him out. He looked like he had lost some weight going into the Belmont Stakes. So that's a look at your field. My selection is Global Campaign. I think he's the speed of the speed. I think the fractions are going to be slow, and I think he's getting better, and I think the 1 1/8 is going to be a perfect distance for him. I think the 1 1/8 distance is going to work against Tacitus and also not enough speed. War of Will, I'm just not sold on him being a distance dirt horse yet. I think even Mighty Mihos can run a big race in this spot here in the Jim Dandy, and Laughing Fox may appreciate the 9 furlong distance. This is a good Jim Dandy, and I'm leaning towards Global Campaign. We'll see which one of these horses wants a piece of Code of Honor and Owendale. Those two are already pointing, along with Game Winner, for the Travers Stakes later on this meet at Saratoga. Who do you like in the Jim Dandy? Leave a comment or a note, and also subscribe. We've got more great videos coming up this week, including the Curlin Stakes on Friday at Saratoga, and we'll also be handicapping the Vanderbilt and the Bowling Green. Hit subscribe to get more race videos, and the more videos, the more subscribers equals more videos. It's the Jim Dandy from the Spa at Saratoga.